Hello and welcome to another video from me, Rough Swordsman Wargamer. It's an open the box, an unboxing of a brand new game from Vuca Simulations, and it is Donnerschlag, Escape from Stalingrad, a game by Patrick Gebhardt and Pepito, and forgive me, Sbazzeguti, and published, as I said, by Vuca Simulations. And I must thank Patrick and everyone at Vuca Simulations for sending me this review copy. Thank you very much indeed. So, what's all this about? From the 12th of December to the 23rd of December in 1942, Unternehmen Wintergewitter was in progress. This was the code name for a relief attack by Heeresgruppe Don to free the trapped 6th Army in Stalingrad. The Axis formation entered with 50,000 men and 250 tanks, while the strength of the Soviet formations was reported to be about 3 times that. For the enterprise to have any chance of success, the troops in the encirclement had to break out and meet the advancing Axis troops. The breakout had to be precisely coordinated with the advance of the relief troops and was to commence on the cue Donnerschlag. The breakout was never ordered, and the troops in Stalingrad were never able to be relieved. This sealed their fate. Players will be recreating this episode, with the Axis side attempting to secretly establish and reach a breakpoint, thus effectively freeing the 6th Army, while the Soviet side will try to impede such an outcome. Donnerschlag is more of a game than a simulation. Both players need to make a lot of decisions, but also need some luck. There we go. So in the box we have one rulebook, one mounted map, 234 counters, 2 player aid charts, 2 setup displays, 126 cards and 2 6-sided dice. And the game features unit scale, battalions, regiments and brigades. The time scale, 1 turn is 2 to 3 days. The map scale is 4 kilometers per hex. Playing time, 5 to 8 hours. And players, 2 players. And on the game meter, it says the complexity is sort of 3 out of 10, but the solitaire suitability is only 5 out of 10. That's because I think there's some hidden information and it's card driven as well. So there we go. It's a 2-inch box, the quality of which is rather nice. The box has a sort of linen finish to it, and as per normal with Vuca simulation games, there is no shrink wrap, so let's open the box. So the first thing we see are those decks of cards, but we'll have a look at those in a moment, because underneath those are the rules. So let's have a look at those. The rulebook comes in at 17 pages, full colour, glossy paper. Format will be quite familiar to those who already own Vuca simulation games, but we have a table of contents, an introduction, scale, calculation, conventions, and then the components, including the map, combat units, headquarters, the activation cards and the combat cards, and the OKH and Stavka, preparations for play, sequence of play, a nice little summary here, fog of war, stacking, zones of control, command, looks like using the cards, command range, supply, movement, and the effects of terrain or movement, overruns, Ezox, combat. So I'm not sure how it all works, but I think you have to activate your units with the activation cards, believe it or not, and then use combat cards to carry out the combat. Combat results determination, retreating, advance after combat, and a combat example. Donnerschlag, which I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think means thunderbolt. The code word that they used, or were going to use. Victory conditions, and then some historical notes. So the rules themselves are only 10 pages, which is quite good. So a nice bit of historical notes there, which continues. Oh, nice long bit of historical background, and then some designer notes. And the setup right at the back. And there's a sneak preview of the map and an index. There we go. Them's the rules. Next, let's have a look at those cards that were mentioned in the rules. First up, we've got the Soviet activation cards, which allow you to activate one of the two armies or certain units of one army. We'll see that when we have a look at the counters. Some are early and some are late. I think that's to do with the turn number, I think. Don't quote me though. Turn 4 and onwards is classed as late. So that's the Soviet activation. We've of course got the German activation cards. These are slightly different. Again with the early and late. I think you activate specific formations with these. Nice looking cards though. And then we've got the combat cards. Here are the Soviet ones. And they're written in the Russian language with an English translation underneath. So that's a nice little touch. Again, early and late. You've got either a general event or a tactical event you can do. But you have to do a die roll to see if you're successful. And some are discarded to be shuffled back in later or actually removed from the game. So there we are. That's the Russian combat deck. And just to finish off, here's the German combat deck. Same thing with the title in German with an English translation underneath. So a great looking set of cards, I must admit. Quite like those. There we are. Next we've got 2 sheets of counters, and as per normal with Vuca Simulation counters, they've got that sort of linen finish on them. I hope you can see that. Pre-rounded, so we just pop them out. So here are the German units and the Soviet units here. You can tell the difference, not only by the colour of course, but these have a colour stripe across the middle, which match up with some of the cards. Here we can see we're only activating the green units of one army. That's where those stripes come in. And what I quite like as well is for the tanks, you can either have this view of the tank, but as you'll see when we look at the other counter sheet, they give you the option to use the normal side-on view as well. So you have a choice of counters. So the first number is combat, the second is the movement allowance. And just like in the other series of games from Vuca Simulation, the movement has different colours to tell you what type of unit that is. The white are for the leg, orange are for motorised, and the red for the tanks. And these colours here for the combat strength denote that maybe they might be able to contribute to combined arms bonuses. But I think nice looking counters. And here's the other side. Here's the other counter sheet. And here are the sort of normal, traditional side views of the tanks, which you can use instead of these sort of 3D images and admin markers. And here's the other side. Next are two setup displays, one for the Axis, one for the Soviets. And here's the first one, but even on the back, look, it's nicely finished. So here's the setup for the Axis and how to set the cards and certain markers up. And here's the Soviet one. We also have two copies of the player aid. So we'll have a look at one of those, and just like all the others in the game, they're on this thick card. So this side has the sequence of play, combat results table, modifiers for combat, terrain effects chart, reminders about zones of control, stacking, command range, and command execution. And on the other side, we have a very handy extended sequence of play. Here are the two D6s. And lastly, the mounted map. So let's have a look at that. So here's the map, and I must say it's a lovely looking thing. I assume, but again, don't quote me, that these are the zones they have to break out of. And what's nice again, you've got both the Russian and English translation, if you like, of the places on the map. And here we've got all the spaces for the Soviet and German cards, turn track, the Donnerschlag advance. I think when he gets there, game over. And these meeting points, which are placed secretly, so it's another reason why the solo aspect might be a bit more difficult than normal. But let's have a close-up. So here's a close-up of Section A here, and here's Gorky. The muted colours I quite like. And here's a look at the left-hand side of the map. The two players are going to be sitting on opposite sides here, because here are the German spaces for their cards, and the Soviets are over here. We've got the Donnerschlag advance and these meeting zones here, and the turn track there. And over here, the origins of the Soviet supply. And down here at the bottom, we've got the origin of the German supply. So this has been an Open the Box, an unboxing of Vuca Simulations' brand new game, Donnerschlag, Escape from Stalingrad, a game by Patrick Gebhardt and Pepito Sbazzeguti. My only problem now is how to try and figure out how to play it solo, but maybe greater minds who own the game can help me out there. But I hope you enjoyed that and you found it interesting. The quality, as per normal with Vuca Simulation games, is top notch. But if you did enjoy that, and you haven't done so already, it would be great if you would consider subscribing to the channel. It does help. Also very helpful for the channel is pushing the like button of this video, the thumbs up. And if you wish to be informed of other content the channel uploads, then push the bell. Leave a comment. If you own this game, how are you getting on with it? Let me know. As well as any tips for playing solo, because I will love to read them. Thanks as always to my subscribers. Thank you very much. And as always, just before I go, A quick reminder that if you wish to support the channel a little bit further, well, now you can. You can buy the channel a coffee, and I'll leave a link in the description for that. Or you can push the super thanks button on the video. And those donations really help keep the channel ticking along. So, until next time, as always, you take care and goodbye.